Hey, how's it going, YouTube? Hope you're doing well. We've got an NA recap to cover as we have officially solidified who our top 4 are going to the major to represent North America in Copenhagen. We had a whole lot go down this weekend. We saw one of the nastiest and cleanest recovery shots that I've seen out of Daniel. We had some beef between First Killer's dad and AJ. This weekend had everything. Crazy quarterfinals, 6-way tiebreaker potential. Like, there was a ton of dope stuff that went down this weekend. It was a very entertaining Rocket League. And hopefully we're getting the same thing this weekend with EU. Get into the recap. Let's keep it on point for y'all today. Our 16 teams, as we mentioned in our recap the other day, we've got some new faces. Obviously, Boulevard coming through. Young Whippersnappers making it back. Omelet trying to have a run through. And a bunch of teams that were up for grabs. The basically stakes that were on the line. G2 had already qualified. They were happy. Gen G needed to basically get a top 8. Luminosity needed a top 4. And then you had teams like Dignitas, Shopify, NRG, OG, Pirates on a Boat, TSM, Space State, all these other teams that were basically in the running and had a chance. So it was pretty cutthroat down to the end. With that in mind, we take a look at our Swiss results, and it was interesting to say the least. First things first, we get a bunch of teams that have been knocked out. NRG 0-3, Shopify 0-3. What is going on? Crazy stuff to see out of that. For Shopify, every game was a game 5. 2-3 against Space Station, 2-3 against Snowmen, 2-3 against Muffin Men. Squishy also peaked on his last match. Squishy, I think, went out against M80, I think it was, in game 5, and had a drive up the back wall ceiling shot redirect that was nasty. So he went out on top with his last shot. Wishes him the best of luck. Crazy career. We owe a lot of things in this space to Squishy in the Cloud9 days, and I would say a career worth celebrating. Done some pretty incredible stuff. Excited to see him move on to content creation for Rule 1. What does that mean for Gimmick and Aqua? They're already LFT, looking for something else. I think Aqua really increased his stocks of a team that, you know, if you're seeing some of these guys rebuild during the offseason, which we'll talk about at the end of the video, there's going to be some enticing offers, hopefully, for him, especially with him not having a buyout. So outside of that, some pretty big surprises. TSM finally showcasing some results. Some people call it a little bit of a Mickey run. They got Boulevard, Pirates on a Boat, and Omelet. Previously, they were struggling against teams like Pirates on a Boat, but 9-1 on the day. Something to prove. Also, Gen G shows that G2 can bleed. Gen G finally beats their counterpart 3-2 in a game 5. Really exciting stuff. You even saw them go to 5 against Dignitas. A lot of teams boot camping. I think there was 5 in total. OG was boot camping. Space Station did not. M80 was boot camping. Shopify was boot camping. NRG was boot camping. And Dignitas was boot camping. 3 of the 5 teams boot camping did not make it. Crazy times. Crazy times. You saw OG continue their form from the top 4 last time as they continue to solidify that they are a team worth considering. Had a tough go at the beginning against M80 and then perfect the rest of the day. 3-0 on Whippersnappers, Space Station, and Dignitas. They've got to feel really good about trying to leapfrog as a cool stat we'll talk about towards the end as well. G2 did have that hiccup, but they do bounce back. 3-1 for them. Omelet, big surprises there. Their only loss coming from TSM. And then Luminosity and Space Station, we talk about you have the ability to put yourself in a better circumstance, not be in the bottom 4, so you're having to play top tier seeds, and they do it to themselves again. Space Station, you did it again. 3 times in a row you play Gen G. I don't know how you do it. It's almost impressive on how they find ways to do it. Tough quarterfinal, but what that ended up doing, if you guys didn't see my video towards the tail end last Saturday, I talked about how we had a potential 5, almost 6-way tie. When we got into the top 8, that means that we had G2 and Gen G were qualified for the major. They were fine. We had OG, M80, Space Station, and Dignitas were all tied. And there was some weird scenarios and everything else. If TSM made it far, then they could be in a tie. Same with Omelet. But there was a potential 5-way tiebreaker based on the way things were going. Most of it was Luminosity and OG in the quarterfinals. And if Luminosity won, they qualified. Then OG and all these other teams were also still tied. That ended up not happening. So OG pushes themselves ahead. It was then down to M80. And if they ended up winning or not, which they didn't. So that means TSM puts themselves in potential to go for a tie if they get past G2, which also doesn't happen. grand finals and stuff, it was cool to have results that actually had weight to them, I will say, going into the quarterfinals with things on the line. OG beating Luminosity, good for OG. They were able to punch their ticket. That additional 3 points was absolutely massive. Space Station can't get past Gen G. More of the same there. G2 and Omelet all the way to game 7. Like, crazy series. So many overtimes. 5 overtimes, all 1-goal games. Crazy series. If you want one to go back and watch, Omelet giving hope into what could be Major 2 or Split 2. So yeah, Omelet ending very strong against G2. While G2, I will say, had a little bit of an off look this past weekend. Still proving that they are a team that you need to be and consider. Top 2 clear, no issues there. And then TSM M80 going the distance as well. 4 overtimes in that one. Like, competition on Saturday was incredible. Super fun watch. Probably one of the best quarterfinals we've seen all season. But unfortunately for M80, they do drop, so they're out of the running. TSM keeps their hopes alive. And then Sunday, Championship Sunday, the top 2 teams ended up winning again. No surprise there. OG did put up a pretty decent fight against Gen G. But Gen G really started clicking. It seems like you're starting to see First Killer play a bit more unselfish. He's sitting back a little bit more, surveying the field, which I think is where his strengths are. You see a lot of these top tier players that have all the mechanical talent and all the craziness use that vision to then use the skill repertoire to open things up and really punish. You have to see that out of Gen G. Really fun to see them hit form, and they proved that against G2 even more so. Still close games, 3 OTs, 1-goal games across the board. Could have went either way. But a good fight. Good fight. 4-1. Gen G proves that it is not a one-team region. Some confidence starting to be provided. You also then saw some people come out of the woodwork, and AJ called out First Killer's dad being on his burner account and a bunch of random drama that happened with that. If you guys don't know what's going on, go check out AJ's Twitter. It is full of content. But yeah, crazy results across the board. So what does that mean for our top 4, the teams going to the major, and their first round matchups, which we have every first round matchup solidified except for the EU teams that have to play this upcoming weekend. So if we jump over to those, we can see our first round matches for our NA teams. If you're interested, G2 is going to be going up against Kansas City Pioneers or Quick Trip Pioneers. You then have Gen G that's going up against Power, Falcons against OG, and Luminosity against Furia. I would be very happy to not be in those bottom 2 seeds. And we'll talk about why that is specifically in a future video as we lock in our EU people. Figure sometime next week we're going to be breaking down those first round matchups. All I'm saying, Falcons looks incredible. Furia looks incredible. Power looks incredible. They are not dropping games, which is what you love to see. So with that in mind, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. If you guys have any additional questions, comments, concerns about what's going on in NA, we get to twiddle our thumbs while we see these teams make it out to Copenhagen, which will be on March 25th. I'm pretty sure they arrive, and then they have media day on the 26th, and then we get into the action on that Thursday, which is the 28th. So anything else you guys need to know, let me know in the comments down below. But yeah, NA starting to show some improvement. Is it going to be enough against EU? Can't wait to find out in a few weeks. That does it for me. As always, like, comment, subscribe. See you in the next one. Peace.